How's everybody doing out there? Happy Saturday. I'm in the studio right now. I wanted to start off today differently than I normally do. I'm going to start it off with some bars, all right? Check it. They got a new housing plan for the ghetto eventually. Projects for a new American century. False flag terrorism controlling you mentally. The gospel in the hands of people with no empathy. A mixture of dangerous social chemistry between law enforcement and a military entity. Cameras on the corner of every corner you facing, testing out a future Gestapo on immigration. Power, consolidation, information restricted, just like the iron law of oligarchy predicted. Incarcerating the poor among the drug addicted, but not the families of the ruling class that's afflicted, cause it's a fucking caste system like corrupted Hinduism. I think you should listen. I've been through the system in prison. I've been through religion. I carried the cross as a Christian like it was anti-disestablishmentarianism until the seeds of despotism arrested my vision, lyricism with cynicism and syllogisms until they Pedro Albizu Campos and kill me in prison. Chemtrail conditions, stem cells of Leo Strauss's philosophy, the birth of neocon policy. But I laugh at America's fear of a new world order controlling the hemisphere, cause my people been living that shit for the past 500 years. So that was off the R-rated Rugged Man joint. Somebody asked me for those bars. They said, have you written anything new? It was originally from a song that we had called Martial Law that we did here in the studio with my brother Southpaw. That was actually produced by DJ Static. So I just wanted to let loose some bars for y'all, let you know what the fuck is going on. Just from a perspective here in New York, things have calmed down a little bit. Let's get the propaganda out of the way. Nobody sacked the 88th precinct, okay? The 88th precinct was involved in a violent, basically, they took revenge on somebody else for some shit. Try to pause that. They're not going to pause that, all right? We got a strong connection in this spot. The police like a gang out here in New York City, okay? So when people finally went over there, the precinct was never taken. They burned a car outside and they beat up wild people, the police officers. Now, when I look and discuss these things, I think that there are some people whose social media has given a voice who never had a voice before. And sometimes these people think they're smarter than everybody else. So let me just break it down for you. The protests are not fake, all right? They come from a real honest place of being hurt. So if you're a random block profile white person and you're going to come on my page and tell me that the whole protest is fake and everything's about George Soros, you think you know a lot more than you know, okay? There's a radical left agenda. There's a radical right agenda. We only hear about one of them, okay? Now, let's break something down. The quote-unquote corporate left establishment that people think is behind everything, they didn't kill that man. The man was killed by police officers who have a gang in this country. And they have seemingly immunity to prosecution in many places. So you can kill somebody and be a police officer and no court date, right? The people who filmed atrocities get more time than the police that actually take place in them, right? So the person who filmed Eric Garner being strangled to death, he's in jail right now, but the police is not, right? People are asking me why individuals were dressed like cops that were perpetrating looting in Minneapolis. Well, that's what they have to do. You have to understand the right wing is super pro-cop. Trump is super pro-cop. This is in his lap. So without that negative reaction, without that coming back, you can't bring it to law and order again, right? If it was just there, he's not a pressure player. So let's get that clear. The other thing that I think a lot of people have trouble understanding is this. That occurred in Minneapolis isn't an isolated incident. This is on the heels of a pandemic where nobody's working, Where niggas is, yeah, I'm on live.
Oh.
What up?
I'll tell you.
I'm gonna come out in a second. I'm in the booth right now. But motherfuckers is not working. They're not eating, right? They're not eating. Motherfuckers ain't eating. There's no job. The government, let me explain to you, because you people are confused. When I criticize capitalism, I get extreme amounts of ignorance on my page and other places. Oh, you don't understand capitalism. You're talking about mercantilism. Shut up. You don't fucking know anything. This is a Ponzi scheme you live in. And you think just because your parents wear nice suits that you fucking have something. You don't have a fucking thing. Let me explain to you. Everyone's talking about communism, socialism, the resurgence, the left, right. You fucking morons. Let me explain this right now. Communists and capitalists agree about something incredibly important. They agree that class is not determined by the amount of money you make. It is determined by who controls resources. So if you make $30,000 a year and you make $300,000 a year, the government has convinced you that the $30,000 a year person, right, is a working class fucking dreg, and that the $300,000 a year person is an upper middle class person, but they're both wage slaves. Do you understand? Now that the coronavirus came out, they exposed that these people with a $300,000 job, right? They don't have nothing now. They're worth negative $800,000 and they can't pay bills. They're about to lose that house. They're about to lose that car. They're going to lose everything. Do you understand? Benjamin Franklin, who was one of the best founding fathers. Why? Because he wasn't fucking his daughter, right? Because he wasn't a scumbag. He didn't own slaves. Sure, he had his problems. He's a toxic person sometimes. But he said something important. He said the American Revolution against the British was only possible at the point where a wagon load of money could no longer buy a wagon load of supplies. And what do we have now here? We have Corona masking something very, very important. That the American dollar has gone down, right? Your buying power has gone down. This is the reason me and my father and my whole family left Peru. You do understand that. For those of you who are on this live, who are watching me, who know me and know about my history, this is the reason why we left. It wasn't because of a rebellion. Sure, that was going on, but we left because we had $1,200 a year. It was like 1,200% a year inflation, right? That's why motherfuckers left. That's what you're experiencing now. Pretty soon your money won't buy nothing no more, right? Pretty soon your money won't buy nothing no more. What the fuck you gonna do then? Then who gives a fuck about Target, huh? Who gives a fuck about Walmart? Where you gonna get your food from? Here's something else New York City has to understand. New York, I love you, bro. I love you. Let's have a long-term plan. I get it. We gonna take a street. I'm down with all y'all. I'm down with that. I fucks with y'all heavy. I'm with y'all. We gotta have a long-term plan, fam. Real shit. Motherfuckers gotta take over resources. Don't take over a block. Take over resources, man. Take over a bullet factory, right? Take over a food factory. Take over some shit where you get more resources. It's who controls the resources. Remember, the number one reason motherfuckers are rich in this society, in the world we live in now, is because their parents or descendants control the natural resource, an iron mine, a gold mine. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. A lot of y'all love Elon Musk. Let me just break something down. Elon Musk is not rich because he's smart. He's rich because his parents, his pops got an emerald mine out of South Africa. Do you understand? That's what they get. Also, let me just say one more thing. I'm not going to be on here too much longer, freaking y'all out, driving people crazy. I'm not trying to cause panic. I'm trying to tell people that we have to take power and control of certain things. We just can't have no fucking plan out there. That's what they want. They want us out there with no plan. And also, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, I love Killer Mike. That's my dude. That's my brother. But the one thing about the speech that he made that I'm going to call him, and I'll tell him this before I tell y'all this, is that electoralism, and I don't think he believes this either, electoralism is not the only thing we can do. Do you understand? Electoralism is not the only thing we can do. The greatest changes that have come into society has not because we went to the ballot. It's because we took down the streets. Okay? We didn't vote the British out. We threw them motherfuckers out. All right? We didn't vote away the Confederacy. We crushed the Confederacy. Do you understand? I just think you need to look at the long-term plan that we have here. Okay? Also remember that this is modern COINTELPRO. So they'll come after the leaders of the movement later on, like they did in Ferguson, where people showed up late. Oh, Joel, I came out on the WikiLeaks Pizzagate thing a long time ago, so you don't know what you're talking about. You have to understand something. You don't need a communism to have authoritarianism. You know, the communism was invented in 1850. That was the first time people were oppressed. You fucking moron. Also, you want to talk about pedophiles? This country was founded by pedophiles. Thomas Jefferson was the Jeffrey Epstein of his day. So come with facts before you come with right-wing propaganda on this fucking page. All right? Anything. Anybody else want to get served before I go? Get back to work? Come on. Anybody else? Come on. I'm an equal opportunity employer, motherfucker. Oh, you want a liberal fallacy? I'll give you a liberal fallacy, you motherfuckers. We are a nation of immigrants. That's a liberal fallacy. If you came here between 1899 and now, you have claim to be an immigrant, right? That's when Ellis Island opened, by the way. Not in 1776, motherfucker. In 1899 is when Ellis Island opened. Okay? This shit been open 100 years. If you came here before that, you didn't come here for religious freedom. The Europeans that came here during the 1492 to 1700 era, they didn't come here for none of that. They came here because stealing people their laws didn't apply here. The stealing people, stealing women, having sex with children, and stealing vital resources is what they came here for. They didn't come here for religious freedom. Stop believing a lie. Stop believing a lie about fucking history. Okay? This country was founded by people who wanted a colony. Europeans built a colony inside America. Now listen to the agenda. People talk about a satanic agenda too often. The agenda for the colonists was to come here and take over the entire continent with whiteness, right? They wanted us Native Americans to go somewhere else. They wanted black people to learn their place. And they think it's a failure, right? That America has failed if they don't achieve that goal of creating a white space for them inside an indigenous continent. You did it in South Africa, but that's not how things work. They have to foment a genocide, otherwise they'll be absorbed by the people that they came in. Example, just for y'all that are watching who know history, Alexander the Great, the greatest conqueror in the world. He conquered Afghanistan and he died there. Why? Because they absorbed him. And you know what's funny? In Bactria, which was a kingdom that was left behind by Alexander the Great's generals, which were just Greek white people that lived in Afghanistan, they lasted for about 300 years, longer than the United States has existed. And you know what? Eventually they were absorbed, right? People say they're the quote-unquote Hazara, whatever. That's a negative term to use for those people, the Asiatic people of Afghanistan. But you look at that. They were absorbed by that. What did you think you were going to do when you came to this country? You think you were just going to spread everywhere, not mate with anybody else? This was just going to be an apartheid South Africa that you built here? See, you got to recognize something. Black people, they fucked that up for you. Yeah. They fucked that up for you. Black people fucked that up for you, America. You thought you had that all laced up, and they fucked it up for you. So what did they need to do? They needed to turn black people against indigenous people. And that's why Spaniards invented mulattoes, the idea of a quadroon. They invented Latino people. Inventions, right? The racial tier system existed in other places. For example, if you know anybody that's from Haiti, they'll tell you that the racial tier system was implemented there with success by the French for years, for about 100 some odd years, until the rebellion came and wiped it away. But it didn't work here, although we still have colorism in this country, which is very, 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 very much an expression of racism. Now, I really do love you guys. I just want you to be informed. I don't want you to buy into whatever we see on just the television, you know? And we got to remember, everybody has a fucking agenda. It's time for the streets to have an agenda, right? That $1,200 COVID check is gone. That shit was gone 2 months ago, dude. $1,200 is gone. Huh? Tell me something. Who out there spending that COVID money right now, motherfucker? Who? Some of y'all doing that? No. Come on, man. That money's gone. And what do people got? Nothing. They have nothing. Nothing. No job. And let me just talk about the pilfering, because I'm going to get the fuck out of here. Let you go back to your lives. The government gives billions of dollars in tax breaks and also free money to corporations to come set up, quote unquote, businesses in the hood. These people create 10 minimum wage jobs, then keep half the money like a boxing promoter, right? A boxing promoter gets like $10 million to throw an event. He'll give the fighter like $2 million. He'll give the other fighter $1 million. He keeps $7 million, and then he'll spend half $500,000 on promotion, and he keeps half the money. This is the same hustle that America has. They give these big companies, conveniently run by rich, good old boys, right? Billions of dollars, who then filter out a few million to the hood. That's what we're protecting? These big stores? That's the benchmark of democracy? The big store? You protecting a fucking store over a nigga's life? You know what the store is doing? The store is selling overinflated price goods in the hood. Shit that fucking kills you. They don't give a fuck about you. Let me tell you something. You know what? That Target refused to give water to the people who were outside who had tear gas in their face. Of course they mad at them. And it didn't help them at all. Listen, if you got your mouth full of black dick, but you can't open it up to talk about black injustice, shut the fuck up. Huh? You were complaining. You were telling me that kids in cages should have followed the law, right? Follow the law. But then you tell me it's right, and other people that screaming in cops' faces with a motherfucking gun, but they're heroes. Fuck you. You're a psyop. You've been set up by this country. You've been set up. Man, we had a movement once upon a time, and we need to rekindle that movement. We had an anonymous movement. Then it was infiltrated by a bunch of right-wing hacks who convinced you to be anti-human, who convinced you to shrug your shoulders, right? And turn into a cuck when little kids were in cages. They taught you to say, oh man, that happens all the time, without drawing a correlation between the black people killed by police and then white people like Daniel Shavers, so you would realize how across the board this shit was going. Instead, what do you have? You have a whole bunch of people that are never laced up gloves in their life, that never paid dues, that have never done anything for the community, telling people how to protest, telling people how to feel. Man, if you never stood up for the people in the community, fuck you. Just shut up, man. Yo, man, you got to understand, I've read the articles. I've seen how the police act when they kill a white person. It's just a different protocol, but they get the same result. They don't want to get blamed. And they're not going to take none of that blame. I think Jim Borio, who said this isn't a white versus black thing, I think that you're missing something, because I don't think you have knowledge of self. And I don't think a lot of white people have knowledge of self either. And unfortunately, not a lot of black or Latino people, but they're coming around to that. The only difference is understanding knowledge of self is difficult, because it forces you to confront unconventional realities. You want to talk about America? How about this? The descendants of the people who set up this fucked up society, so when everybody was... No, it's not that Gandhi was a simp. Gandhi was a racist. Get your shit right, stupid. What people don't understand is that the people who then set up this society, like the ex-slave owners, they divided themselves into two factions. An oppressive conservative one and an oppressive liberal one, right? One of them had very, very different agendas, but it was all the same, controlling people in power. You want to hear some other unfortunate news? Do you know how many Southern white people have African blood in them? And that's why they so racist against one another? Because a lot of y'all white people are part nigger, and you don't want to be that. Right. After the Civil War, what happened? You take all them rednecks down there. Get all them rednecks down there. Give them all a fucking DNA test. 5-10% black, all of them. All of them. White people in the South. You just wanted to get away from that. So you made fun of the quadroon. You invented the term mulatto, which is, by the way, a fake-ass term. Let me understand. Let me put you on to Latino racism here and how it infiltrated in America. The term mulatto, right, actually means a mule, right? A mula. In Latin, a mula is a mule, right? Mulatto means the combination of a horse, which is a noble animal in Europe, and a donkey, which is a beast of burden. These two things, when they mate, create a mule, which is a sterile animal, which was the whole point of classical Hollywood cinema. Nothing good can come of black and white people. That was the idea that colonists had. They wanted the land, but they didn't want the people whose land it was. They wanted the labor of black people, but they didn't want black people in their society. Okay? You do understand, I get it. I have a few right-wing people on this page sometimes. I fucks with y'all because we both pro-gun. But let me just break down something for you. Multiculturalism is not the problem. Racism is the problem, okay? Multiculturalism didn't destroy America. Racism and your inability to look at another human being and say, oh, these crime statistics point to how black people do more stealing. I said, I'll tell you something. If the statistics about crime, and you have to be very careful when you deal with white racist people about this, if the statistics on crime, right, are right, and I'm more likely to steal your purse, but you're more likely to fuck your own daughter or rape your son up his ass, I'll take being a thief more than being a pedophile. I'd rather be the nigga that steals from Target than the dude that fucks one of his own children. Do you understand me? So be very careful with those crime statistics, because if we're more likely to steal, then you're more likely to fuck your kids. And that's stupid. Stop using these racist statistics like this. It doesn't help the movement. It doesn't help the conversation. It doesn't move us forward. You're just repeating right-wing talking points because you don't want to change the policy. The policy has to change. And you keep it real. It has to change in these Democratic areas too. Look at Minneapolis. Neoliberal horseshit. Neoliberal horseshit. Democratic governor, Democratic mayor, Democratic chief of police. And they've done nothing because we haven't put their foot to the fire. You want bars from the Middle Passage? I don't know if you're ready. No, you're not fucking ready. Look, the problem with listening to history for a lot of Americans is that they have trouble suffering through 500 years of colonization. If they just had the strength and temerity to get through it, we could see how Europeans have been used by cattle by their societies too. You do understand that, right? Like, I do know a lot about white slavery, too. The word slave actually comes from white Europeans, Eastern Europeans, the Slavic people of the Ukraine and Romania that was stolen by the Byzantine Empire. Come on, man. We need this. We need knowledge of self. Because always remember, I said it on Vlad, I'm going to say it again. You cannot have strength and power without knowledge of self, right? If you have strength, you have all the strength in the world, but you will always be manipulated. When you have knowledge of self, you have power and you apply it to things. This is what we need. We're showing strength in the streets right now. The police are scared. Mr. Trump talking big, but he's scared too because he's a fraud. He's a game show host. He's not a leader. He snuck out of a war by pretending his foot hurt. He's a hoe. Just remember, we're showing strength right now. We need to show power. Power is the ability that you have to destroy something and not destroy it. Take it and make it yours. So the next time you're thinking about looting a grocery store, everybody out there, do me a favor. Take everything that you need from the store and give it to the starving families of people who need it, right? Before you take some shit that you don't need, give it to the people that need it. Robin Hood and Little John, motherfucker. That's what we doing here. The middle passage. You already know. Immortal Technique. I'm done talking. Good night, nigga.